So hi, I'm Michaela and I'm working on the Analyze Boston project for my 100 final project. As I mentioned last time, Boston's recently released a lot of data that they've opened up to the public to help the public analyze to hopefully find interesting trends and just stories in this data. So what I've spent my last week doing is looking through the data, mainly using R and Tableau, just exploring various stories and things that I might be interested in pursuing in terms of this data. So one of the most interesting data sets that I found is the 311 data set. So this 311 data set looks at all 311 requests that have been collected by the city of Boston. So there's lots of categories, as you can see here. There's graffiti, recycling, just lots of different things that happened over the city, and it really tells a cool story if you look at how they evolve over time and on holidays such as Marathon Monday and stuff like that. So I've been looking at that, and I've also been looking at Twitter data. So I've been looking at data from like local politicians as well as just the general Boston feed. So this is the feed of Marty Walsh, and it's been interesting parsing some of the text. I've done some projects in the past with Twitter analysis and specifically sentiment analysis. And it's not that interesting because a lot of these texts are pretty moderated, but just seeing what words pop up the most in correlation with certain events has been pretty interesting. So what I've been working on this week is, as I said before, is just getting more familiar with a lot of the more interesting data viz technologies in JavaScript. So I've been working with two mapping libraries this week to put together a basis for a map, because I think no matter what data I choose to visualize, a map is going to be a pretty important way to represent this because it is the city of Boston and just the geography is going to help people understand it a lot more. So I've been using Leaflet, which is in JavaScript library that helps with interactive maps. And then I've also been using Mapbox, which provides also mapping capabilities for JavaScript. And so what I've come up with thus far is a map that looks like this. You can zoom in and out, which is the leaflet part of it. And then you can also click on specific regions, which right now would take you to an empty page. So as you can see, the neighborhoods of Boston are outlined. I may also add some of the neighborhoods in Cambridge, but I pulled this map and these outlines from an outside source. So I didn't create those, but I implemented them together and then also created the interactivity. I didn't also write the CSS, but I put it together with the mapping software to create sort of the theme that I want. Right now I don't have any title or anything on this page, but I could easily add it in the future, or a sidebar explaining what is going on with this data set. As I continue to explore it, I think that will be more necessary, so that functionality is already in place. There's also the functionality already there that I could add titles to these neighborhoods, or specific keywords or photos or anything that I want to associate with these neighborhoods in particular. So even though I haven't decided anything that I want to add now, it would be very easy for me to do so in the future. So right now my code is looking pretty good. As you can see, you can click on a neighborhood and right now it'll go to a blank page. But in the future I could have neighborhood specific information and could also allow people to navigate back to the main map. So as for risks, I think mainly it's going to be stuff like this with Leaflet and Mapbox and other libraries that I continue to use. There's a high possibility that I'll run into issues with one of them and we'll have to adjust in some way, shape, or form. I still haven't really looked at anything with D3, but I don't anticipate any real issues there. Over the next week, I'm going to continue to explore the data and hopefully get some data on my actual map or in a visualization in a more final form.